Okie dokie, guys. I'm here to give you some insights on how to grow your list, how to 3x your list growth, because growing the list, increasing the volume of people coming into your email marketing systems can really make all the difference in how successful your email marketing endeavors are. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to give you some really cool tips and tricks. If you don't know who I am, my name's Sean Miller. I co-founded an email marketing agency called AuraSeed. We've been in business for over 3 years now. And prior to that, me and my business partner have been in e-commerce ourselves, have been email marketing for other top agencies years and years before that. So collectively, we've got over a decade of experience. We were not just working in a pub 6 months ago and then started an agency. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I respect the hustle, but we've got experience here. At this point in time, we've worked over 100 different direct-to-consumer e-commerce brands. We've helped startups launch. We've also seen e-commerce brands doing millions per month as well. So we've got a broad range of experience, worked in multiple different product categories, and I follow a lot of great marketers on Instagram and LinkedIn, for example. And some push the narrative that having a really high converting pop-up is super, super important, and others will then take what that truism is and use it as a hot take to go, I don't care about how high converting your pop-up is. Listen, it all comes down to being non-binary in your approach to email marketing. Everything has its place. Is having a high converting pop-up the only thing that matters within email marketing? No, absolutely. Does positioning, does how you communicate to your audience, does how you position your angles and understanding why people buy from you and understanding the USPs and the product benefits that you have are important? Yeah, absolutely. Is having complex and diverse automations and good content pillars important? Yes, it's a chain. But here's the thing. It's a keystone within a bridge, I would say. Like every brick within the bridge is important, but there's also a key block that holds things together. Dare I say the pop-up is the keystone, but it's definitely an important brick. If you take anything away, it all falls down, sort of. Pop-up's important. What I do for a lot of brands, I honestly have seen probably over 500 different pop-ups within the last 6 months, because a lot of brand owners just ask me for insights on this, and that becomes a way actually a lot of people start working with us because they realize we know what we're talking about. What I usually say is the conversion rate on a pop-up is one of the most overlooked, underappreciated metrics I see e-commerce brand owners make. For context like MailChimp and Klaviyo will say a 2 to 3% conversion rate in your pop-up is optimal. It's deemed excellent. If you rest on your laurels there, you're really missing a trick. For our brands, we always try and get their conversion rates anywhere from 7 to 12%. We have seen higher than that as well. We've seen 12, 15% pop-up conversion rates. You can imagine when your traffic really starts to get to a point where it's looking tasty, 40 to 50,000 people visiting per month plus 100,000 people, converting 10% of those onto your newsletter is super important. Of course, conversions is massively important. But if you optimize for conversions, if you've got an amazing conversion machine through your flows and welcome series and campaigns on the other side, but only 1% of people are seeing it, it's all in vain. So it's important. You've got to consider all of these things. So I'm going to teach you what we recommend, some best principles, some things to avoid, some things to try, some things to test. So you can go through the iterative process of taking your pop-up from 1% to 10% and beyond. And yeah, then you can focus on all of the other good things that come with email marketing. So, what I usually say to brand owners is a really, really good pop-up is going to actually help with your return on ad spend. It's going to help with conversions, and it's really just going to optimize the amount of people and the volume of people funneling into your flows. It can do a lot to your bottom line, because let's say your welcome series already has a conversion rate of 10%. If you 3 or 4x the amount of people flowing into your welcome series, you can add tens of thousands of pounds to your bottom line just by changing the conversion rate in your pop-up. So this is really important, and you work hard to acquire organic traffic through good content. You spend a lot of money through Meta and Google to funnel people to your website. You better be excited, like Robbie Williams is here, I think, on, The Voice or something. When people arrive to your website, I see so many lackluster attempts at converting people over from the pop-up. It's just not good enough. And especially in today's landscape, it needs to be better. So I'm going to help you with that. Okay. So let's go down. Okay. So the powerful impact of a high converting pop-up. As I said, we've seen over 100 different performances over this year alone. We've got a ton of experience to share. In 2024, it's fairly challenging for many industries, but e-commerce is no exception to that. Competition is fierce. Customers are a little tighter with their wallets. And conversion rates in general are going downwards. Advertising through Zuckerberg is becoming more expensive, so you do need to create a safety net for this. So in such a tough landscape, having an effective pop-up for your site is more crucial than ever. Without a high converting pop-up, the ads that you're paying for are bouncing from your site and may never return. If people aren't purchasing within first visit, like they're not purchasing within their first session from you, unless you have a predictable way of capturing that lead's information and then retargeting them with high quality content, you may just never see that prospect again because of the war of attention. It's just so rife at the moment. So your ads will lose their punch if your forms aren't pulling their weight. And there's a clear correlation between the brands that we start working with, the return on ad spend and conversions, when their pop-up and the email marketing is working well. So here's the good news. A well-designed, high-converting pop-up can literally change the game. Captures your visitors' attention, nurtures their interest, and then will convert them into customers, helping them. Then you can start to think about retention and lifetime value after they've made their initial purchase. But unless you get your product in your customers' hands, you can't be thinking about retention, which is huge for all of the brands we're working with and growing e-commerce brands to scale profitably. So let's get into the details a bit more. What makes a good pop-up a good offer? So 15 to 20% off if possible. Unless you're a super well-known brand. So some of the images here that I'm going to use are going to be examples of ones I like. Sometimes they're going to illustrate things that I don't like. So unless you're a super well-known brand like Dolce & Gabbana over here, you need to get your products in your customers' hands. And a good offer is the way to do it. Unless someone knows, likes, and trusts you, when they're visiting your website straight away, there's little reason for them to just say, oh yeah, I'm willing to have another brand just send me emails multiple times a week and fill up my inbox for no good reason. What would be the reason for it? So Dolce & Gabbana, they could definitely improve this no matter how big they are. But if you're coming and you're having a look at this, what are they saying? Subscribe to our newsletter. We can zoom in here and stay up to date with news from the world of D&G. Okay. Unless you're Dolce & Gabbana, that is not going to slide. If you're a brand and you haven't got that global brand awareness and generational brand awareness, that is not a strategy that's going to work from you. So it would be a failure to go to these big brands and go, what are the big players doing? And then you go and look at Dolce & Gabbana and go, okay, that's how they've done their pop-up. I should do that as well. No, they are profitable and extremely successful in spite of pop-ups like that. What you need to go and do is look for more niche brands in the modern era within your product category and see how they're doing it. Millennial and Gen Z brand, really, not these old generational brands, because they have the gravitas and the weight of decades and generations of reputation behind them. So different rules apply when you're at Dolce & Gabbana's level. So you're most likely not there yet. So you can increase the chance of conversions with solid content in the way of flows, but unless people sign up, they won't see it. We've talked about this. So you need a good reason for people to sign up. And in today's economy, the question is, why do you purchase from new brands? Does money off help sweeten the deal for a brand that you already like? Let's just say you're looking to buy a new health and wellness product, a new protein powder or multivitamin, because you want to work and have more energy. If you go onto that website and they offer you £5 off or $10 off your first purchase, is that going to make you more interested in signing up to their list or not? I know the answer for me. So you need a good offer. We're going to get into some good offer ideas a little bit later, but simply just asking people to subscribe without any incentive is just not sufficient. Sign up, and some people will say to get latest offers or insider information. That doesn't matter, especially if people don't know you as well. Again, is that a good enough incentive? Why would they want that kind of information? So these are some things to consider. If you're doing this, you need to change it. So some good offer ideas: a percentage off, $1 or a fixed amount off. This is usually one of the first tests I encourage people to run. So determine within your margins what percentage off you're willing to do. If you can do 10, great, more power to you. If you can do 15, 20%, even better. I always say, if you were to never offer a discount again, do it on your offer, because then you get the products in people's hands more easily, and then you can show them the quality of what you do, and then they can start to know and like your brand. But oftentimes, especially within the consumables space, so supplements and skincare, we see a fixed amount off outperform a percentage off very, very often. So a good rule of thumb is if you want to do a 10% discount, take 10% off your average order value, whatever that number is, take that number as a fixed amount off and do an A/B test. 10% off versus $5 off, see what works better. Oftentimes you'll see the percentage, the fixed amount off slam the percentage off. It's just more interesting. Free X with order. So this can be nice as well. You may have some accessories, or you may have some, we work with, for example, a luxury sustainable brand, and they have many different accessories, whether it be like card holders and water bottles that they're willing to give away for free with a certain order value. So you can make a separate product page with free gifts that people can choose from if they spend over, let's say, $80. So that's a cool one. That's a cool offer you can run if also you're not willing to just start to give a number off. Free shipping if you can't do any better than that. A mystery discount are really nice, and you can gamify this as well to really drive engagement and clicks. So we like mystery discounts. Giveaways are good. These can also be seasonal as well. So let's say you've got a new giveaway that you're running, or a brand. This could be a good way of really driving engagement and driving signups. Sometimes you do collaborations with other brands. We help other brands do collaborations, and then they do a giveaway. So you can have a branded giveaway pop up for a season, and this can really help as well. So it's good to diversify things. You can also show that to previous customers who have purchased but haven't consented in. So a giveaway is a really nice way to re-engage them. And again, if you're really if I understand if discounts and money off is really just not baked into your brand identity or business model, then you need to start thinking about creating an asset that is a valuable asset. So a free guide or an ebook. But here's the thing, you can't just use AI to knock these up for free. It needs to be something you'd genuinely be willing to spend money on. So it takes a bit more sweat and a bit more labor. If you have a good email agency like us, we can help you with that. And early access as well. So this is great for new product launches in BFCM as well. So the idea that you can get early access to a new product release as well, or new early access to the sales of BFCM. This is really good. So sometimes we'll run this for our brands a month and a half in advance and start driving list growth prior to BFCM. Create a separate segment so we know that they're BFCM subscribers, because sometimes those people are just in for a discount. So you don't necessarily want to include them in your engaged segment off the bat, but without getting into too much detail there. Number 2, you want to keep it large and central. This is an example of someone not doing that. So this is what I don't recommend. This is what we call a flyout, for example. So what we recommend is around a quarter to half the screen to be taken up by a pop-up. So if it's not full screen, but we see pop-ups that take, I said a quarter to a third here, even half could work, of the screen work best. So these tend to just be easier to click off. They demand less attention and are a bit annoying. It's sort of like that Mr. Nice Guy thing. It's I don't want to be too in your face. I don't want to annoy my customer. And that comes from the best of intentions. But this just becomes a little fly that you can swat away. These kind of flyouts. They don't demand attention. The offer sort of just falls away to the wayside. And it seems like you don't value email marketing as much as you should do, really. And that's not necessarily what the consumer's thinking, but this is what I'm telling you. Retention marketing needs to be a short-term and a long-term play for you. If you're an e-commerce brand, it's so crucial for profitable growth. So unless you're building that asset, which is your email list, with vigorous intention, you're just not going to perform in the long run as well as the brands who have built lists of 150,000 people and are driving sales off them every month. Meta could go down and those brands are still just making bank. So that's the way you need to be thinking. You need to be investing in that asset, and a flyout like this really just doesn't do the trick. And by the way, this is just not an opinion. We've tested this. So opt for a pop-up, not a flyout. You want to simplify things as well. If there's too much going on, this is just going to overwhelm or simply fail to engage. So this is an example of too much information crammed into one, asking for too much information. So at this stage, offer and design is king. There's smart ways to drive engagement. If the conversion rate isn't there, doing everything that I've told you so far, we'll get into that. But too much copy and just having too much going on is not going to engage. Again, we've got, even later in the email marketing was your flows. Emails need to be skimmable as well as the copy needs to be solid. But at this stage, you just really want to be thinking offer and information field. And if you want a slight quip, which is really on brand, and if it's super funny or super on brand, or it just has a little humorous nuance to it, that's cool. We recommend that. Like a Dr. Squash would definitely maybe have a bit of humor to it. But other than that, we're just inviting you to go for the offer alone. Here's the thing, don't take my word for it, test it. For this brand, for example, where they're saying, sign up to our newsletter to get 10% off and be the first to hear about our new collections. Like, this stuff is inferred if you're signing up to email marketing. You just don't need to worry about it. And also asking for title, like it's just you're adding friction to the process. You don't need the last name, you need the first name, you need the email address, and you don't need this copy. No, we would say to this brand, I recommend just saying, here's 10% off your first order, first name and email address, sign up today. That would be the test I'd invite them to make, because the design's nice. The lifestyle photography is cool, but this stuff is unnecessary and we would say it's too much. So we'd say to simplify this as a principle. So test and timing. This is an awesome offer, by the way. Get a chance to win 1 year's worth of supply of personalized skincare plus a $500 Amazon skin card. So that's a pretty cool offer, right? That's a giveaway. That's a really cool offer. And the design's nice. It pops. It's colorful. It's engaging. And look, they've managed to articulate all of that in less than 30 words or something. No, less than 30 letters. I don't know. Super, super simple. But timing's really important as well. So pop-ups can appear after a certain amount of time. Some people don't even have pop-ups who might be watching this as well. So this is for you guys. The sweet spot's usually around 10 to 40 seconds after a visitor lands on your page. This gives them enough time to get a sense of your content without feeling overwhelmed. 5 to 10 seconds we find is going to trigger resistance because someone's just trying to take in your brand, taking your product pages. So if you're coming up too quickly, they haven't had a chance to digest your brand enough to even know they want to continue on with maybe making a purchase. So you can't be too needy. You need to give a little bit of breathing space before then this becomes worthwhile. So that's something to consider. But to get even more nuanced, we always recommend brands test timing, because this is how you go from 2 to 3% to 5 to 6 to 7 to 10 to 10 to 15 is by doing iterative tests. So page specific timing. So what you can do is you can adjust the timing based on the average time visitors spend on a specific page. So you can look at your Shopify analytics, for example, and get an idea of how long people on average spend on your product pages. So if they spend around 35 seconds on your product page, you could set up your pop-up trigger to be around 20 to 30 seconds to capture their interest just before they consider leaving. So now this is really data-led. You know what the average dwell time is based on your data. So then you can tailor your pop-up off the back of that. So you can then maybe do an average test of 10 seconds versus what your analytics are saying and see if what I'm saying works. So those are some really good timing tests. So I would test offer first, timing second, because you want to control the variables as well. And each of these can last about 2 weeks, depending on your traffic flow. If you're not getting tons of people through, you might need to leave it a month to get an adequate sample size. Behavioral triggers is cool as well. These additional sort of things that we do for our brand. So use triggers based on user behavior, such as scroll depth or exit intent, for example. An exit intent pop-up can catch a visitor's attention just as they're about to leave, and you can have slightly different copy there as well. So you can offer a compelling reason to stay or complete a purchase. So this approach is particularly effective for reducing bounce rates and increasing conversion. So if someone's in an abandoned cart, you can, before they even maybe get a abandoned cart flow, you can have an abandoned cart pop-up as well. So that can be really, really cool and effective. So there's lots you can do with pop-ups. So let's go on. Don't ask for too much info. This goes in the same line, sort of the same sentiment as simplify. So look, asking for birthdays just isn't necessary. They're annoying and they don't really help sales. It's unnecessary data and it's just creating friction on this part of the process. People might not be willing to give their birthday away. And if someone's not willing to give that away, but they would have been willing to get the 10%, there's no point putting that obstacle in the way. You can ask for birthdays over campaigns later, but it's not critical data for you at the moment. So maybe do that with a campaign and get rid of the birthday field. Leave socials, up requests for socials and following socials, again, later down the line. Put those in the footers of your emails. You don't need them here. You don't need anything other than the offer, their name and pop-up, and their email address, essentially. So we've given you some, off the back of our data, some sort of benchmarks as well. So fashion timing, we find 20 to 30 seconds works well, 50 to 75% scroll time. Supplement timings, we actually find 30 to 45 seconds work really nicely with supplements from our data. Again, we've got a lot of experience in testing this. FMCG, we actually find 10 to 15 seconds has been effective for us. Electronics timing, 45 to 60 seconds or 75% scroll time. And we've also included, I'm going to include this doc in the bio so you can actually just digest this yourself. But we've got additional things like exit intent pop-ups with warranties or accessory discounts are particularly good for electronic products. And beauty and skincare, 25 to 35 seconds pop-up or 60% scroll time has been effective in the skincare and cosmetic category. And behavioral triggers, pop-ups with personalized offers based on skin type as well work really nicely. So let's go through some good offers and some good pop-ups that I really like, and I'll tell you why. So here, just super solid and clear offer, like get 90% off, fixed amount off, $90 plus free shipping, no nuances as well, no caveats, except for new customers only. So, oopsie daisy. There we go. Sorry, guys. So this is a really good pop-up. What we like is this one. This is a really good pop-up, zero-party data. This is something we haven't necessarily talked about, but if it makes sense for you, start collecting zero-party data early. So what they essentially are certain profile properties that you can use to segment your audience. So that can help you segment your audience and send more tailored content. Skincare is a really good example. So you might have oily skin, dry skin, or acne, for example. Maybe you have distinct customer categories or customer avatars. This is a good time to sort of box them in. But also, if you do it in the way of a quiz, it's really engaging as well because people like to talk about themselves as a general rule in consumer psychology. So this is done really nicely, and it makes a lot of sense as well. So beautiful full-page pop-up. This would have been created on Amped, I guarantee. You got a mystery discount. So it's a mystery discount. It's a quiz. And it's super, super engaging and getting you zero-party data. So this must slay. I love this. To reveal it all, tell you what you struggle with most: anxiety, stress, insomnia, and burnout. So whichever one is your particular pain point, so you're getting the pain point data from your audience, which you'll then always have. So you can create separate customer segments based on this information, and it engages them to then give their email. So this is going to be super high engaging. So if you can make this applicable to your brand and customer categories, I recommend that. Soft opt-in is something that I always recommend people make a test on if their offer's working well. So here's a good one. Want 10% off your first order? Yes, please. Then it takes you to a separate page and then gets you to fill out your email. So simple. It's just the difference between having a soft opt-in and getting them to take a first step. We found that can increase conversion rates by 2 or 3% in often cases. So my team have used this recently. I should have included some Slack messages where we did a team training on this. And they were like, Sean, I just put a soft opt-in in and we've gone from 3 to 7%. So really cool stuff. So a soft opt-in can be really powerful. And this looks really nice on mobile as well. This is a nice one. So great design, clear offer, and zero-party data. So this has also got the quiz in, getting a product preferences, so asking about product preferences, nice 15% discount, and really nice big bold pop-up as well. So especially if this came up after 15, 20, this is FMCG, so this is probably a good 15 seconds, I would say. And then nice 15% off and asking them about their preference and so it's a soft opt-in, it's a quiz, and it's a good offer, 15% off. So really, really solid pop-up this. So hopefully you're starting to see some patterns here. See, I like this offer, but I'm going to say the sizing on this is not great. This could be optimized because there's a fly out here, which I don't like, and it's coming out on the side. But I like the sign up to win a free robe. So again, like that can be really simple. It can just be like win a free robe. That can be a really good offer to test. You could test your 10% off versus a win a free robe. Those can be really, really interesting tests to do. So look how cool some of this photography is and some of this branding is. If they simply just infuse this branding into the pop-up a bit more and made this a little bolder and more central, I think that would kill even better. But I like the sign up to win a free robe. So free giveaways are a really nice idea for an offer. So this one's good. So this one's like no money off, a value-based lead magnet. So this is a good example of a brand I've seen. So free guide, reconnect with your skin with nature. Join our list to get a free copy of the Skincare Bible by Dr. Anjali Mato. So like that's pretty much a book by a doctor on how to take care of their skin. Like if you're struggling with your skin, that's going to be really, really applicable and really, really intriguing and really helpful. So again, it'd be amazing to test that versus just money off and see which one performs better. So if you have that lead magnet, but you're willing to give off discounts, test both as well, because then you could say, hey, we don't even need to give away our margins here because more people are signing up to the skincare Bible. So if you have the wherewithal to create that internally, I recommend this. And if you're really sort of reticent to give away money off and you don't want to be seen as someone who gives away discounts at all, you have to go down this route, make it applicable to your brand, and get creative. And I also like this one as well. This is, you can tell either on the second stage of that particular pop-up. So it's another, you've already got someone opted in, but you can also get some more zero-party data here as well. So now they're getting a bit more data. So this is a great way of like engaging people. You take them down a journey. You don't just ask for it all at once. You have various different journeys. So you offer them the book, really nice. Actually, one more thing, we'd love to know a bit more about your skin type as well. And you can save those preferences. So again, for skincare brands, it really makes sense to start to gather that data. And we do this with all of our skincare brands as well. So yeah, this is a really nice, cool pop-up as well. So some final principles: aim for a conversion rate of 7 to 12%. That should be your initial new benchmark. You can go higher, don't limit yourself. You get there by making iterative tests. Test soft opt-ins, test offer, test timing, test design, and test with less or more copy. These can be some of the tests that you just get rolling with. Test one thing at a time as well. Don't overwhelm yourself. Once list size and traffic flow is sufficient, I recommend using apps like Amped and retention.com. But for these things to really have a solid ROI, you want to be looking at a traffic of around 50K visitors per month. Additional steps that you can take if you've tried everything that I suggested and you're still not getting the conversion rates you want, you can try gamifying things. So like spin the wheel. We've seen some brands do a spin the wheel and have really 10% conversion rates with a spin the wheel. So it can work. It might not suit your brand though. If you're a luxury fashion brand, or if you're like a handbag brand or a boutique or like a clinical skincare brand, I don't really think spin the wheel works. So it needs to be on brand as well. So it's the only thing with gamification, like a spin the wheel. It can give an impression of a little cheaper, in my opinion, and it's playful. So if you're a playful brand, it works. But if you're a really classy, sophisticated brand in some capacity, I would recommend not starting with this. Additional steps as well. We've kind of already touched on it, but these are just other ones in action as well. Like this mystery discount's really nice. You can gamify it. You would need to use the product Amped to be able to do these sort of ones. You've got the 10% off, but the quiz as well. We've got the soft opt-in, and you've got the soft opt-in here as well. So you're starting to see this is the bread, the essence and the blueprints of like high performing pop-ups from everything that we've seen and through our years of experience. And you also want to make sure you're optimizing for mobile as well. So Amped can really help get very sexy designs optimized for mobile. And here's a nice way of like getting some zero-party data as well. So this is a heal fast supplement. Let us know what your pain point is. So surgery, scars, sleep, or daily essentials again. So you need to be thinking about, don't ask for irrelevant data that won't actually help you in creating better content and sales. So it doesn't make sense for you to have a quiz. Don't worry. But if you do have distinct customer avatars and pain points in various different categories, then this is a great way to engage and collect valuable data, which is going to make your email strategy more efficient. And especially if you've got someone working on your emails all the time, or if you've got a really solid email partner, they can leverage that data. So I hope this was helpful. That's about everything. So yeah, that's about everything. I hope that was helpful. That's a lot of what we know works. Prioritize a good pop-up. It's low-hanging fruit. It's going to help you make a lot more money, grow that list exponentially. So let me know if you've got any questions in the comments and I'll answer.